Good afternoon. Welcome to Griffin Tank, the Defense of the Plan. I want to welcome all our guests that are here today. There are students, there is faculty, there's administration, and there's staff. So welcome everybody. And I'm not sure, I know Laura Carroll, who is with Camp Celiac, or Laura Hahn, excuse me. Is she here? No, well, she should be here. And I know that Craig Boyd from Partners Creating Community is here because he dropped off these, there he is, dropped off these amazing croissants and other food from Partners Creating Community. So please taste that while you're here. The croissants are about this big, so I would say maybe cut a piece because I don't know anyone that can finish one. So our students have divided into groups at the beginning of the semester, and they decided what they wanted to work with and who they wanted to work with based upon businesses that were up. And they met with the different businesses. Some had easier businesses to meet with than others. Some had businesses that disappeared as they worked. So you will hear some of the issues that they ran into during this past 15 weeks. Met with me, they met with other faculty, they met with Professor Irvin, Professor Jeter, and Professor Rogers, there he is, over there, along with Professor Drobeel and other professors within the business department. I'd like to introduce today's judges. They are different ages, different abilities, different ideas, so I'm really excited about the group we have this time. Pierre, and Pierre, you have to always say your name from last name.
I'll forget.
Oh, sorry. He has his MBA. He is a 2022 graduate of Chestnut Hill with a dual major in business administration and accounting. He has an MBA in data analytics from LSU Shreveport. Back in 2022, his team won Griffin Tank. It was Stadium Sprint. He's currently employed as a senior communications manager at Walmart, and he is on the upward projection. So if you want to talk to someone that started and has moved upward, he is the man to talk to. And an interesting fact, he's bilingual in both English and Haitian Creole. We have for the first time Stephen Colstock, MS, PHR, SHRM, CP. I'll tell you what they all mean in a minute. He is the Senior Director of Human Resources at the communities of Don Guanella and Divine Providence. He has an MS in Human Resource Development from Villanova, is Society for Human Resource Management Certified Professional, and is a professional in Human Resources Certification. Got that right?
You does have to.
This was on his LinkedIn, and I really want to read his belief. As a human service leader, Steve is passionate about bringing focus back onto the core element of human resource, humanity. His belief is that little acts of kindness that we do each day can change the world. HR has the power to do that. We have Alfonso Nathan, who has an undergraduate degree from Bloomsburg where he played football. How about the Eagles? Okay. He has a master's in clinical counseling and applied psychology from Chestnut Hill, so here's our third alumni, well, second alumni at the moment. He is a licensed professional counselor and a licensed behavioral specialist. He is the co-founder and vice president and lead-based clinician of Brightside Medical Associates, located in both the Philadelphia region and in Virginia. And he's a published author and motivational speaker, and is also a member of our Center for Business Advisory Council. Romy Mirowich. Romy is a soon-to-be Chestnut Hill graduate with a degree in business administration and a minor in marketing. She is on the women's tennis team. She is a departmental honors scholar who was recently awarded the Center for Business ACBSP Student Leadership Award. Her team was one of the co-leaders that won, or co-teams that won in the fall. And she is from Israel and intends to return there after graduation. We have Lizanne Pando, who is currently a member of the Chestnut Hill College Board of Directors. She is the president of St. Hubert's Catholic High School for Girls. She's the past president of Miraculous Marketing, which is a firm dedicated to assist marketing and social media for small to medium businesses. She was the director of marketing for the World Meeting of Families and the director of communications for the Central Association of the Miraculous Medal. And we have Andrew, you got to say your name.
Sorensky.
Okay, he is a December 2024 graduate of Chestnut Hill College with a business administration and management degree with a concentration in finance. He played baseball for Chestnut Hill. He is a departmental honor scholar and recently awarded the Joseph A. Bucci Award for Scholarship, Service, and Citizenship, and is currently employed in the medical device sales. I can't remember what company. Excuse me?
Stryker.
Stryker. So if you know anything about medical device, that is like the biggest company. So judges, for all you students, they have reviewed everyone's plans. Some of them came in with their questions already outlined. So we're ready to begin. Our first group is Camp Celiac. If you'd like to come up, we've got you.
From Kitty.
In this group, there is James Bartley, Elizabeth Deal, Erica Dubinsky, Abigail Galeska, and Sergio Alejandro Hincapi Abelardi. All yours.
Good. Right.
All right, ready? Good afternoon, everyone. Like she announced, our camp is Camp Celiac. First, we'd like to thank all of the judges for coming out today. We'd like to thank Professor Borzillo for working with all of us throughout this semester-long project. And Laura Carroll, she's the director of Camp Celiac. She should be coming, but she took a lot of time to work with us and speak with us about something she's so passionate about. So let's get started. So what is Camp Celiac? Camp Celiac is a nonprofit summer camp. It's based out of Hardwick, New Jersey. It's a 1-week-long summer camp that serves 115 campers, ages 8 through 16. This is a place for kids to come and enjoy all types of activities such as hiking, swimming, crafts, they provide dance parties, and it is a place where all meals are gluten-free all week long. It is completely volunteer-run with a mission to empower and connect children with celiac disease all throughout the country.
So, from our interviews with Laura Carroll, as well as from our own independent investigations and studies, we constructed our own SWOT analysis for Camp Celiac. One of the main strengths of Camp Celiac that we identified was its competitive advantage for its uniquely provided services to children with celiac disease. It provides them guaranteed meals, gluten-free meals, and medical concerns are, of course, taken into account when delivering other camp services. There's always at least 2 trained medical staff on standby to address any medical concerns or anything of the sort.
Closer to the microphone.
Okay.
There.
Sorry.
Hold it, you cough.
Okay. Okay, that's probably better. Camp Celiac also has an extremely loyal customer base within the community. They've developed an extremely positive reputation as a brand. Of course,
Okay, sorry.
nervous. A weakness that we identified within Camp Celiac and Laura Carroll mentioned on several occasions throughout our interviews was that Camp Celiac was facing a funding issue. The revenue they were bringing in was not covering the extensive amount of operating costs from food to utilities and so much more. Camp Celiac also has a limit on the number of kids that they can allow within the program each year. It's particularly parallel to the number of volunteers and medical staff that are able to participate in the program each summer. So what are some opportunities Camp Celiac can pursue to address these issues? Although during our sit-downs and interviews with Laura Carroll, she mentioned that Camp Celiac is not actively looking to move to a new location, particularly since they just recently moved down from Rhode Island to this new location in Hardwick, New Jersey. We do believe that potentially moving to another location may be to Camp Celiac's benefit, especially if they can move to a location that has far lower operating costs than where they are currently located in Hardwick, New Jersey, at the Happiness is Camping facility. We also believe improving and overall just increasing Camp Celiac's activity on social media would be to the organization's benefit, particularly in the hopes that it would facilitate increased public awareness of the business and encourage increased donations. Some threats that Camp Celiac could be facing within the foreseeable future and are kind of facing right now. Should other camping organizations begin offering specialized services for campers with celiac disease or other health issues, it could drive business away from Camp Celiac. An example of which being a YMCA Camp Mason. That's one business in particular that we identified that could begin bringing business away from Camp Celiac. Also, Camp Celiac is a seasonally run organization. They operate only in the summer months, so they, of course, miss out on potential to bring in a large amount of revenue if they were open year-round compared to other camping organizations.
Oh.
So currently, looking at the main challenges, the camp has an extensive lack of funding and needs to provide food and equipment for their campers. So with little donations and applicable grants, this will result in a loss at the end of the season. Camp Celiac has great brand loyalty and want to sponsor children to attend the camp, but they need funding to operate. Just to put into perspective, regular wheat products processed, often to be gluten-free, often costs more and are 139% more expensive, which doesn't help with their high operating costs and will be affected to the current economic status. So a challenge that they will face is the 2.4% increase on current inflation rate in March of 2025, which will affect the camp's fixed and variable costs.
So with these challenges, we set goals that we wanted to achieve. Our first goal is to ensure financial stability and continue annual operations. We want to continue to bring in money for Camp Celiac, and by that we want to expand donor and grant funding base, reaching out to local communities and grants so we can continue to enhance the campers' experience while maintaining a dietary safety. It's important that all meals included are gluten-free throughout the whole week, so we want to continue to do that. And lastly, we want to strengthen community and alumni engagement. It's important that the campers who graduate from Camp Celiac continue to come back, give back, possibly volunteer, and continue to spread the word of Camp Celiac.
As of now, Camp Celiac isn't looking to expand, but here are some things that they might be able to do in the future if they do intend to expand. First, define a strong brand. Use a clear, meaningful message, something like Camp Celiac, where kids with celiac thrive together, to build recognition and trust. Second, targeted digital outreach, time promotions around spring registrations, and focus on referrals and community-based networks. Third, creative promotions, incorporate early bird discounts, alumni highlights, and consistent social media content to drive engagement. Fourth, year-round engagement. Maintain visibility through newsletters, virtual reunions, and seasonal gluten-free content. What I mean by that is just tips for holiday baking or treats for Halloween, stuff like that. And finally, financial growth. Pursue sponsorships, apply for grants, engage with pediatricians, gastroenterologists, and dietitians as a trusted outreach partners.
Here's.
So, building upon what Sergio shared with you all on the previous slide, Camp Celiac has a lot of opportunities to pursue in the hopes of gaining more public outreach and potentially bringing in more funding. As previously shared, developing a more profound and engaging presence on various social media platforms is an extremely important step for Camp Celiac to take. At the moment, they're only really present on Facebook, so reaching out into other social media platforms such as Twitter, TikTok would be extremely important. And the posts don't have to be anything super special, just sharing stories of alumni of the camp, of the program, sharing photos of the actual program currently being held, showing just the campers having fun and having a good time. It's a good way of bringing in attention to the overall business and potentially bring in further donations. And of course, encouraging past campers and alumni to share their past experiences at the camp, particularly at in-person fundraising events, is extremely important, as it is a first-person account of the positive benefits that Camp Celiac is bringing to these campers. And as previously shared, looking for a new location is an option Camp Celiac can pursue to bring down operating costs. But as Laura Carroll shared with us, Camp Celiac is not actively pursuing this at the moment, but we felt it wasn't important to share nonetheless.
So Camp Celiac is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a safe environment for children with celiac disease. Like many nonprofits, they're not designed to generate a profit, but rather to serve a mission. In 2024, the cost per camper was about $900, but parents only paid $500. This resulted in a deficit of over $36,000. To address this in 2025, the camper fee was raised from $500 to $775, which helps, but it doesn't completely cover the costs. Our financial strategy includes increasing grant support and diversifying fundraising. The camp also aims to grow enrollment, manage costs carefully, and reinvest surplus back into the program. While the camp has no major liabilities, they're operating on a leased space at Happiness and Camping in Hardwick, New Jersey, and they also manage a modest set of assets, including like camping supplies. They currently offer no credit to families, which ensures upfront payments and avoids the risk of unpaid fees. Even with these financial hurdles, the demand for Camp Celiac is high. They have a wait list, and families are consistently expressing the value that they find in the program. Overall, Camp Celiac remains financially challenged but mission-driven. With stronger fundraising and continued community support, it can continue offering this vital experience to the children who need it most. And then I just wanted to show this graph to show in 2024 when they had the $500 per camper, and in 2025, this year, how they raised the price, that yes, there is a smaller deficit, but Camp Celiac they don't care about the deficit. They would rather feel more secure with parents paying less and having that and getting outside money through grants and donations than having to rely on the parents and families to pay it. Overall, we really enjoyed working with Camp Celiac. We enjoyed this project, and yeah, we had a very good time doing it. And we'd really like for you guys to thinking about donating or investing. So if you have any questions, we're open.
Okay, first of all, thank you for that. That was really, really interesting. Also, I know how hard it is to be first, so good job. Yeah, so my question is, did you guys calculate the expected cost for food in the next camp in 2025?
When I was talking to Laura Carroll, she's one of the main directors at the camp of Camp Celiac, I was asking if there was any budget for this summer that they have that maybe that we should know about, and she said from a year-to-year basis they're not too sure how much they're going to spend. They offer it, they go on a year-to-year, week-to-week basis, so they're not really too sure how much they're going to spend this summer because things can happen. A couple years ago, she said that one of the refrigerators broke, so she had to go out and completely buy all new food and stuff for this camp. So no, there isn't.
Great job. I like all of your presentation, liked your slides, liked how you rotated, liked all the information. I just have a few questions. So you say that that the camp is at maximum. Actually, it has a wait list, right? So is there any information on the demographics? Has it been increasing year over year for individuals with celiac who would like to attend this camp? Did you have any information from them on that? Has it been growing year over year? Or pretty much staying the same, and the wait list is getting bigger?
Yeah. So with each passing year, of course, more and more families are introduced to Camp Celiac, and depending on if they perceive the cost as worth it, they may enroll their children within the program. Of course, the amount of children campers that are allowed to attend the program is proportional to the amount of volunteers and medical staff that reliably can attend the program throughout the 1 week during the summer. I believe that it has been continually increasing. Of course, with recent changes within the market and the increased costs, demand is likely to decrease. But so long as the parents perceive the costs as worth it, we don't imagine the demand for Camp Celiac services are going to decrease too much anytime soon.
Okay. I liked how you compared it to the Y, so that was great competition information that you included. In your notes before this, I read that you were making a suggestion of going to 2 weeks. Did it show that if you went to 2 weeks, would that be the same children for 2 weeks, or would that be this group of children and maybe the wait list increased students or kids for the second week? And did it have like another budget with it, or was that your suggestion and maybe not their data?
Yeah, I would say that was more of our suggestion. With the wait list, there's the set numbers that can go, and then if we offered the second week, we would reach out to the wait list student campers, seeing if that was something they were interested in. And then with that, it would be, if it isn't enough, then you got to work harder to find enough campers to continue to succeed for the second group.
Great. When you say you're reaching out for social media, I saw you're adding like Twitter and TikTok. What market are you looking for? Are you looking for their parents, or are you looking for the students, like the kids? So, and did that like influence what kind of social media you're going to suggest? Because there's different markets there.
So reaching out across social media, of course, you're far more likely to reach younger demographics, whether it be young teens or early adults. But just getting out within the market, spreading the word, even just reaching out to the younger teen demographics, it has the potential to reach the parents should children with celiac share the program with their parents. And yeah.
Lean in on the children bringing it to their parents.
Yeah.
I run a high school, so I get that. If my kids don't want to come to me, they're not going to tell their parents about it. And did you consider anything like, you didn't mention their website at all in the fundraising. You were only talking about social media. Was the website the landing place for your donations, or are you working in a different financial model?
It's just mainly through their website. They have a QR code link to Venmo, which is on your paper actually that is provided.
So only Venmo? Do they have credit card and other ways to donate?
That I am sure of. Laura is present now, so if you would like to help us out with this answer.
Venmo and PayPal. Can you spend it for your party?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And I saw the increase in the finances, but it still held a deficit. You said you were going to use a grant model. Who are the grantors that supply grants for this type of funding?
So at Camp Celiac, they have a department where they work on getting grants and outside donations. So mainly they would be working on it around that.
Okay, so you would increase maybe your salary on your grant writer to
Yeah, and
increase
just
the
like-
number of grants?
Yeah.
So
and
it would
reaching
lean
out.
in on a different, like, expense.
Wait, can you repeat the question?
So
Sorry.
if you're going to increase your number of grants you're going to write, you might have to increase the amount of time you pay that person. So you would be increasing your salary, but not at the, if you got a big grant, then that would, of course,
Yes.
make your ROI, your return on investment, the likely. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, everyone. Excellent presentation. I love the layout of your proposal, too. Excellent job. quick question about the management structure of Camp Celiac. I understand that volunteers primarily maintain the day-to-day operations, but I'm assuming there are some paid staff, and I was curious what that management structure looked like.
So what it's good.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Sure. Is there paid management staff that oversee Camp Celiac, or is it?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think everybody, it's a nonprofit, so they just get volunteers. Usually the volunteers that they get from summer to summer are kids that they trust, that they've attended the camp in the future or in the past. So yeah,
Okay.
Usually it's just free, I think.
Okay, so those responsible for grants, fundraising, marketing, communication, social media, that's all volunteer basis?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Oh, yes. It's bothers.
He's big shot.
Great job. First question is, the wait list, is there any engagement in the fall or other times in the year to keep those engaged while they're waiting?
As I said on one of my on one of the slides, there's no year-round engagement, so that's why we suggested for them to have newsletters going around all year round. As I said, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So yeah, newsletters, virtual reunions with past campers, and fun seasonal gluten-free tips. Like I said, something like for holiday baking or treat for a holiday and stuff like that.
Second question I had, so with the cost increasing, what new services has been added? It hasn't seemed like, there's no one getting paid, but yet everyone's operating still at a deficit. So I'm confused as to where the new upcharge fees are going.
To cut down the cost or raising the price, it was originally just to cut down the deficit that they currently have.
Well, as a customer, if you raise the price of anything, I would expect something in return. So, I signed up my kid to show up to your camp. You upped the fee on me, but yet there's nothing changing.
Because usually the cost per camper, it is over $500 what they originally pay. So the cost per camper it's totally over $900. I think it's around $902. But they only have the parents pay $500, and they get these outside grants and all to help cover these costs. But recently, I think the deficit got too big that they needed more help from the families than they would rather have expected to come help with this.
Why not?
Yep. And I'm not going to be too much longer because I know you guys did a really good job being the initial one. You guys usually get all the energy, so kudos to you. I love the chemistry that you guys have right now. So very good. A couple questions. Is there a brand ambassador for celiacs that you guys maybe partner with, or is there a known brand ambassador you guys looked at to kind of help with pushing for more partnerships as well, just to kind of help with, again, pushing for a cause? And
I don't currently think there's any brand ambassadors, but I'm sure the brand would be open to working with other people.
okay. Any food brands that maybe you guys partnered with, like a Cheerios or anything that's gluten-free or so you can probably get more freer type of food that's sent to you guys?
There were a few organizations, I believe, like Jersey Mike's.
There are a few organizations that work with the camp, like Jersey Mike's to include with gluten-free bread, so that some sources are provided to them, so they're not operating at such high costs.
Oh, good. And make sure that's blasted everywhere, really pushing and promoting the individuals for that food brand. All right. Has there been thoughts about either reducing the numbers of campers or letting the people know on the wait list, hey, we have a wait list, and really pushing that they're people are kicking down the door to get into this camp. Talk about the scarcity of the availability. to make the parents be okay with paying a higher cost, but also having them also push to try to get some donations or so? Has that been like a marketing push to be like, hey, we have 50 people on the waiting list, but we just can't get them in. You know what I'm talking about? That just like pushing for that scarcity.
I guess I can talk about that. So in regards to the waiting list, Camp Celiac has posted on their home website whenever there's a limit, the limit on the amount of campers has been reached, and there is going to be a wait list established for any families who still want to sign up their children for the program. In regards to marketing, Camp Celiac marketing is somewhat limited. It's primarily through word of mouth and in-person fundraising events. That's the main way they get their name out there.
Good job, guys. Just one quick question. Do you think that your proposed camper fee from $500 to $750 will remain accessible to lower income families?
Yes, Camp Celiac works very hard to keep the camp affordable for all those who would like to go. So if a family was struggling and something happened and they were having some financial difficulties, they could reach out to Laura or anybody at Camp Celiac and just be like, hey, I need some help right now. Is there any way I could get a scholarship or a little bit of a break or anything? And she would be more than willing to help them and work with them with that. And she has before.
Awesome.
Well,
Oh, no, okay, good. So, really good presentation again, but I want to know if you guys did a little bit of like more research about competitors, something like that there is like around, if there is any other camps around that doing what Celiac is doing?
I wouldn't say it's too much competitors because there is such a high demand. There is a Camp Celiac based out in California, which is another offspring where kids, if they are on the waiting list for Camp Celiac, they can look towards there so they can have their week-long experience. And then the one that's local is Camp YMCA Mason, which is just a summer camp for other kids, but because ours is so different, because it's strictly dietary based on one disorder, yes.
And another thing, so because it's a nonprofit organization and they getting donations, right? There is like any specific events that Celiac is doing that others are not doing?
definitely. And this question, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So if I want to donate, I'm donating just from the QR code, or like Celiac is doing any events to get more people to donate for the camp because it's a nonprofit?
And yeah,
Yeah, during the week of Camp Celiac, they post a lot on Facebook, and at the very last day of the week, they have a big party for all the kids, and it's like the highlight of the week. It's what they're all looking forward to. They look forward to it every year, they say. So usually, like, building up to the party, they'll try to, like, they'll send out memos to all the parents and try to get them to donate so they could get more stuff for their party, and yeah. And they post on Facebook, they'll post some stuff, and with the Venmo, yeah.
Thank you.
If anybody would like to donate to Camp Celiac, there will be papers with a QR code to their website link.
Our next group is the Delaware, our next group is the Delaware Coalition of Nurse Practitioners, and I'll let you all introduce yourselves as you present.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amris Guzman. I'm one of the members in working with the Delaware Coalition of Nurse Practitioners, and we had the privilege of working with them and helping them build a business plan and aiding and boosting their membership. Now, just to clarify, unfortunately, Dr. Apold could not make it today, and unfortunately, throughout this process, we were unable to be provided with enough information, so much of it is research-based and what we were able to bring to the table to help with their growth and development. So to start off, the Delaware Coalition of Nurse Practitioners is a nonprofit organization which is aimed to promote and bring an awareness to nurse practitioners, and which will aid in their growth and success in their careers. Now, to preface, a nurse practitioner is essentially a doctor of nursing in a way that they continue their education at a graduate or doctorate level in order to perform more direct patient care. They are able to assess and diagnose along with prescribed medications, in which they are able to also provide more, to work the more common medical issues in comparison to a doctor if a doctor is not made available, unfortunately. Now, the state of Delaware is one of the states in which a nurse practitioner is able to work without supervision of a physician. However, not all states are able to do so. Now, the objections are as stated in a sense of these are the objections that we pulled from the website, and it's mostly aimed to promote, strengthen, and really provide continuing education for nurse practitioners. Much of it is just to support their role in the state and their pursuit of direct patient care. Now, they also do a lot of advocacy for legislation and regulation. In a sense, they push to promote throughout their state, along with, of course, other states, in order to help in being nurse practitioners being more accessible and for them to work without supervision of a physician. Now, our goals centered a lot around marketing. Unfortunately, the financial was not made very available to us, as Dr. Apold also was unable to provide such documents. A lot of it is research-based, as I said, and we just wanted to focus on enhancing their brand visibility through marketing and advertising, along with educating and bringing awareness to what nurse practitioners do and all that they have to offer, along with boosting their membership and along with growth and engagement.
Goodness.
Hello, everyone. My name is Madison, and I'm going to be talking about the marketing strategy overview. So the overall goal for the marketing strategy is to expand the visibility and engagement. And we're mainly going to focus on 3 different areas: the social media expansion, which is what my colleague Trey is going to further talk about. I'm going to talk about the community engagement and advertising, and then we're also going to talk about the newsletters.
So on the social media side of things, we talked about for them to, look to enhance their Instagram, Facebook, TikTok experiences, because we've seen that their social media platforms are kind of like vague. And so since it was kind of vague, we kind of gave them like suggestions of like, posting daily videos, different kind of membership stories that they may have went through during their time, and, keep them informed on any events that may occur. And the same thing can be said when they create their newsletter that's on their website. Just make sure that they have like different legislature things on there, different events coming up, and different discounts that the memberships may be able to obtain.
So in regards to the community engagement advertising, so the overall goal for the organization is for it to connect with the public through free health screenings and workshops and educational events, which will provide real value to the community. And it also helps people understand the importance of nurse practitioners, especially with the shortage in doctors as well. And then also investing in event marketing, things like virtual campaigns, fundraisers, and partnerships with hospitals and different schools, which will help us build relationships, increase the public trust, and attract new members to the group as well.
So the marketing will equal growth. So what we expect for the business to, for the coalition to get out of it is, they'll build their brand loyalty, increase membership, and, they'll strengthen the coalition's impact throughout the state. And we feel like the marketing is a key way for them to get it out there, especially because they don't have much support anywhere else within the state, and it's something that's so new and it's definitely still growing.
Hello everyone, my name is Vincent Gillespie-Goose and I'll be doing membership. As for membership, first we would raise the membership fee from $55 to $80 annually to match service value and fund growth. Next, highlight membership value by clearly promoting education, networking, and resourcing to boost engagement. And enhance digital access through social media, and this would improve membership convenience for the members. Lastly, boost digital presence by working with some sort of intern and college student to strengthen digital presence and outreach. And as stated before, we didn't really get much on financials, but we talked to Dr. Apold, and we also were going to sign disclosure paperwork, so we did not get to that. We got very busy during the time we were making everything. But regardless, as we were, here is our financial slide.
How would finances would grow? Social media like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok would promote our fundraising. Community would also promote our fundraising, like social media to gain more people into it. Membership costs would promote more people and would have more revenue that they have. Revenue can be gained by raising of membership pricing, state fundings if they decide to apply for the grants. Under Section 501c3, nonprofit not required to be made available for public inspection. I want to take a moment and thank the judges for their time and everybody for coming up today.
I know it becomes difficult trying to get information when the company or organization is not really giving as much. So I know how difficult that can be. So, and my question is for the research purpose. What was your method of research for this? What did you guys use for researching?
So I can speak on behalf of the marketing side of things because that's what I did my research on. So I did a lot of research pertaining to and I completely forgot one of the slides to say it to you guys, so I apologize. But It was this one article that I read about how nonprofits, they can, if they spend, I think it's like something pertaining to Google, right? So they can get up to $10,000 a month in Google ads to advertise on Google free of charge if they're eligible as a nonprofit. So I just honestly went to Google and kind of was just searching in marketing for nurse practitioners and kind of seeing what I could do to play around with that in that aspect of things.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What can be helpful, and this is a good rule of thumb, just for research now, because right now technology is really, really, really good with finding out data and for data analytics. I mean, You guys can go to, even for ChatGPT and do the deep research and really try to find some articles and some numbers and even some hypothetics of, what would be the price point for membership as opposed to even some of the memberships, the memberships in the past of a company or organization like the nurse practitioner one, just to kind of help give some more just tangible numbers, because right now it's very vague and it's hard because you guys didn't get a lot of help from the organization. Nurse practitioners are the future, so I'm very well. I was very excited for it, but it's a little disappointing because they weren't here to be able to answer some questions, because I literally I have 4 nurse practitioners that work for me, so we know the importance of that. I want to know just even, I would love to know for the, what do they get for the membership? You know what I mean? So all right, you get this membership, You know, do we get like a percentage off of just like your liability insurance? Being able to like really push for the excitement of, yeah, I want to sign up for this type of membership because they're going to be able to protect me.
So for the membership, you mainly, they provide a lot of education on nurse practitioners and what the Delaware Coalition of Nurse Practitioners provides.
Okay. Well, what is the education that they provide? Because with that, they can't Google.
As far as what we learned, it was a lot of continuing education in which nurses can take routes in which to get more as far as their license goes and such. But much so, back to your, as far as what it offers, we were looking into what liability insurance and to what we could offer as far as that. We were able to see that there is Nonprofit Alliance was able to provide commercial general liability insurance, I believe. And for every out of state, I believe it was California, it was about $560 premium, and then it was $600 for other states. We thought to recommend that. However, it was also a cost in which, because they don't have a lot of revenue. And also we thought that we could also provide them with resources as far as legal protection, because a lot of nurses look for legal protection in such as their jobs. They want to know that their jobs are at least protected or they're going to be defended in some way, shape, or form.
I would have loved to seen that in your slide. You know, so because it sounds like you guys did do the research, but just the presentation wasn't really showing the knowledge base that you guys have. So just remember that, like you guys are very intelligent, and you guys can be able to provide that research and showing that to individuals that would be able to, you know, maybe help them get more members. I think it's important, bigger than just the social media piece, because I've been seeing a trend for the past 3 or 4 times that I've been on here. The first thing is always I go on TikTok or Instagram and things like that, which is great, and I think we all know that. But I'm looking for outside the box thoughts of just, all right, how can I be able to maybe connect with a certain school in Delaware? Like give me the names of the school, and something that's a little bit more than just the surface level. But that would be my critique. But I know how hard it can be. So kudos to you guys.
2 questions. Do you know how many of these members stay after their annual membership is up?
That we were not provided with information on, unfortunately. I believe she gave us a current number of the members that were a part of it, and I believe it was around 30,000, I believe. Okay. But again, it was very difficult because she was not able to disclose as much. It was somewhat very limited in her knowledge as well. So that was the unfortunate part, and whatever we did was a lot of research and such.
So do you guys have a proposed plan that you could retain members for more than a year to stay?
As of right now, I do not believe so. We do not have that as far as retaining members, but Dr. Apel didn't express that they had any problem losing any, as far as much as there's a lot of benefits in which you can, when you are a full member, there's student members and there's full members and then there's retired members, in which you're a full member, you're able to run for office and hold office in the sense of having a say in legislation and regulation for nurse practitioners.
Okay. Great presentation, especially with the lack of information of what you had on hand. I thought you did an excellent job, and the proposal was outlined beautifully. So great job there. I was curious what strategies you might have in terms of gauging member satisfaction. Kind of goes hand in hand with the retention question. Did you give any thought in terms of figuring out how satisfied the members are with the services provided, especially if prices are going to increase for membership as well?
I'm only some public shop.
What we found out was that their prices is like half of what like the average was from other states. So we basically tried to raise the price a bit for them to gain revenue. But as far as like the satisfaction for the members, I mean, I feel like they're getting the same membership qualities that they would get in other states, but it's more so that we just felt like raising the price would bring in more revenue.
Is there any opportunities for members to provide feedback, whether it's survey distribution? I don't know if they have that
They had a
embedded.
section on their website about feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Good presentation. My first question is regarding to funding. I know you mentioned they don't have a lot of it. Revenue-based, they're not getting a lot of that as well. Why are they opposed to state funding? To potentially, keep the cost the same, get state funding if it's accessible, and help your members.
So as far as what we found in, as much as we did find on their finances, we went online and were able to find that it was back in 2018. You can.
Yeah, back in 2018 is the only tax information we can really find. We tried to find something most recent. We did a ton of research and tried to find something. They didn't provide any of that. But in the 2018 paperwork, the only contributions that they really had was their once a year fundraising event, and that's all we could find.
That's good. Now, just a thought for you guys. Going back to the ChatGPT thing, in a matter of minutes, we're able to find, endless information on the revenue the last several years. I know you guys, social media, if you guys everyone comes up with TikTok and things like that, but you utilize things like ChatGPT. It's so useful because yes, they might not have the information, but something like that can find that out for you guys to present something, to actually have a real plan to help them grow, whether you're going to use social media, whatever the plan is. But, an excuse of not enough information, we can use that, but I don't think it's fair because there is information out there that you guys can compare to. Just a thought, use your resources, and if you guys aren't too familiar with ChatGPT or the resources out there, seek guidance to help you guys present a little bit better on what you guys are looking to do here.
So yeah, for finances, we were trying to give you the data for 2018, but like I said, we could go into ChatGPT, or we could go to any website, but they're not going to give us the exact number that they might have. So we also didn't want to give you information that it might be not true at all or not even near it. But also we wanted to give you great information. We try to ask her. Like I said, we were not quite with giving a lot of numbers for finances. We also know that was one of our big deals for finances. We couldn't give, we had data from 2018, but we didn't know how to compare it to 2024 or 2025 even, because of the reasons that we were not given that information for revenue, for total liabilities, or even for the assets in total of the last year.
I get that. It's nothing on you guys for saying you didn't have much information, but how can you propose to increase their social media influence or their revenue if you don't have anything to compare to or to back what you're promising to do?
So we did it based on the website. So we actually investigated, took time looking up her website, and we saw that they didn't have a lot of going on in TikTok, Instagram, or even Facebook. Right now, the social media that's a big thing right now is TikTok, and we try to promote, showing her you can use more of social media so you can promote more or put more info in your website so that you get more people to join and to also have feedback in the revenue.
Hi, great professionalism. I liked how you rotated through. I liked when you announced who you were. I agree with, I echo the others that it's difficult to analyze your feedback on finances when there's nothing in the reports on finances. So how long did you have to kind of pick this? Like when you first picked this subject, did you realize right away that you weren't going to get this feedback? Was there a chance to pivot, or did you kind of get in there and it really got you stuck?
Honestly, we didn't have a lot of time. Pretty much, we had a couple meetings with her, and basically right off the bat, she was not able to disclose such intricate financial documents, unfortunately. And that part got very difficult, but as far as that, but we thought if we focus our attention more on giving suggestions and research to back up our suggestions, then it would at least set them on the right path as far as that. They are a board of solely nurse practitioners, so they were just, I guess, looking for a little bit of guidance.
Yeah. Since they got the grad thing class.
Cool.
This for some grad line as in I think you don't put any space to the hair stuff.
So.
And see.
Yes. So as far as so as far as competition, what we saw, because it was a state coalition, we took what we saw from other state coalitions of nurse practitioners, and we thought of what could be used to advance them and at least bring them up to comparison, to bring them up to give that competitive advantage. And we tried to suggest legal protection as well, because we noticed that not as many coalitions had that stated on their website. So we thought if we could just do that, because they offer much of access to continuing education and to conference events. They're part of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, so they are affiliated with all of those things and conferences and events. However, we thought if we could suggest that, then that would give them a little bit more of an edge.
Anything that was differentiating, like, did Delaware have anything that was differentiating, like others did this, but we do that? Did they have any like outreach that gave extra added value to join their group?
No, and that is why we decided to suggest.
That was where your suggestions came in? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Start.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Ready?
Well,
You know how to get your...
yeah.
You earned your video. Very good.
What, the video?
Email.
No. It's just separate.
For sure. You know, does he get to a next right? Where is that? Does the company?
I've read it.
It's not embedded?
Yeah, it was just a simple email. That's an email. That's okay. We'll just do it like this. Watch out. The video can be so I just can't focus it all on you.
Okay, so I can manage just like this?
Just do this. We'll just go through this, all right?
Okay, I'm trying to keep moving because we have 6 groups. So our next group is from a, I'll let you explain. I'll let them explain why all 4 of their members aren't here, but it is Il Circolo Italiano.
You.
All right, I'm Bo Cox, and this is Jared Mamano. We did Il Circolo Italiano. There's 2 other members, but they're not here because of the baseball game. So they did a video, but the video's not up right now. But we'll just go on from here.
So our El Circo Italiano, it's a educational club located in Devon, Pennsylvania. It is a diverse area with many Italians, and our goal is to center around the language and the culture. So our overview, we have multiple different language classes, different levels. So you have like intermediate, advanced, so on and so forth. We have events. We have a spring event and a fall event. And we also have membership benefits. So our market opportunity, and as you can see, there's a map. The darker the green, the more Italians there are. Pennsylvania has a 10% of the residents in Pennsylvania claim to be from Italian descent, which is basically 1 million people. We do have some local competition. There's multiple Italian clubs within the area. Not all are educational though, most of them are social. Ours is strictly educational for the most part. We do have a lot of community interest because of the Italian heritage, which is something we really want to prey upon. We also are very eager to add anybody who's willing to learn the Italian language or the culture. You don't have to be Italian. So we noticed that in the last 20, 30 years, there's a major decline in the Italian study. We think that because of how many Italians are in the area, that we can kind of bring that study back and want people to indulge in what we learned and what our club teaches. What we propose is it's very educational, it's cultural, and it's a social environment. We want people to be able to talk to one another. We want people to be able to bind friendships. We want everybody to kind of get along, know each other, make it a small community. One of the big things that we did work on with them was coming up with like a little booklet, like a community booklet, so everybody has everybody's email addresses, phone numbers, so on and so forth, so you guys can stay in communication. There you go.
All right, just to touch on like the management and like makeup, director, boards of the board of the club. There's a president. Her name's Teresa. A VP is Joe, and then it was founded by Catherine Dardozzi in 1989, which recently she just passed. The peak was 120 members, and right now we're really looking at like 30 members, so numbers are really down. Just with time, and I mean, the club kind of consisted of an older crowd, and as that goes on, people die off and stuff such. We do have qualified teachers. There's four across the 3 levels. We're really searching for young leaders. We really need a younger group to kind of take over and like bring up the club and kind of better it, because it's kind of stuck in the old times. And to touch on that, we really don't have like a limited crowd. We're really looking for, I mean, younger, but anyone that's interested in the language and the culture can work. Just to touch on the marketing and growth strategy, we kind of broke it down into 4 phases here. The online presence was really weak. The website kind of lacked any really real information. The Facebook was extremely dated. Any like newsletters and posts were really, you could just tell that they were extremely old. Phase 2, we needed to bring in the local groups. So we joined a few Facebook groups, like the Mainline Community Group, kind of put more our information out there. We did gain, I think it was 35 members on our Facebook that liked the page at least and engaged in it. And we kind of touched on like the Facebook ads. They're not very expensive and they're cheap to use, like that. Phase 3 was a leadership review. We really do need to adapt to like a better leadership. They're old, they're stubborn, they don't really want to, they don't want to change at all. And then phase 4, future planning. We came up with an 18-month. They wanted this. They wanted an 18-month strategy just to kind of lay out the future and what we thought was best for the future of the group. So our sales and membership strategy, a lot of our revenue comes from memberships. They're $50, pretty cheap. Monthly meetings you get access to, and then you have to pay extra for the festas, which are the fall and spring festas. And then high value events, we came up with plans to like make their meetings themed and more attractive. They're kind of boring. So like a Mardi Gras themed event we came up with. I know they didn't really want to use alcohol, but in some of their events, people want to drink wine or with their dinner, stuff like that. So the festas is a dinner. We did bring wine into that to kind of better that and move on. So our finances and ethical positioning, they really work in a break-even type of model. Personally, as a group, we didn't really think that was sustainable. They are tax compliant though, so they did file their 1099s. But funds are kind of restricted. They kind of are limited with just how many members we have. To touch on that, we do have some ethical limits. You can't really grow if you don't have enough money. So we need to better our finances. then a SWOT analysis, some strengths. I mean, there is a good core and like cultural appeal. No other club really touches on the language. Weaknesses, like I said, it's really limited financially, and nobody really they know that they need to change, but they don't really want to. They're kind of stubborn. There is a large opportunity, like Jared touched on. There's a lot of Italians in Pennsylvania, and then even if you're not Italian, you're traveling to Italy, you want to go there. It's a great place to learn the language a little bit, learn the basics to even travel. And then the threat, there is still a decline in America. The Italians it's just dropping, and they don't really care about the language as much, just because they're not from there. They were born in America, but their parents are from Italy. So it's kind of narrowed down. And then some of our challenges to wrap up, like I said, there is a financial growth challenge. We kind of get restricted with just the $50 membership fee. Stubborn leadership, like I touched on, they didn't really want to take our advice like they did, or they kind of just would talk over us, stuff like that. They knew that they needed to change, but they didn't really show like a want to change. And then it kind of seems like it's exclusive, but it's really not. We want to kind of target everybody, not just Italians, not just people that want to learn the language, but everybody's welcome. So yeah, that's really it. That's our club.
Good job, guys. Just to clarify, the membership's annual or monthly?
Annual, so $50 annual, and they pause in the summer, so it's really like a 9-month club to say, because summer's busy, everyone's traveling, stuff like that.
So looking at your business model, so the break even, like how does the club plan to fund the future?
Yeah, good question. So like I said, it's $50 per member. The main goal is to boost memberships. The more members, the more money you have. And then with that, you have the festas that anyone can attend, not just members, which like raffle tickets are offered, stuff like that, just where more revenue is based. But they strictly want to just break even. They don't want any extra funds. They don't want any less funds. They just want to break even. So the more events, or the more members, the more events we can hold, and then the more money we can make.
Is there a plan to make a profit in the future if their membership goes up?
I guess it could. I guess more members, but even then, they said if there's more members, they can just be more into it. They can do more. They can put on more events. So they didn't really have a want to make more money. They just wanted to boost memberships.
Great job with adjusting, because I know it's only 2 of you guys, and I know there's probably 2 others that were supposed to be there. So, I mean, that's also in business. You got to adjust, right? Again, I know it's hard finding those numbers, so I'm not gonna repeat from prior. Have you guys talked with them about again targeting more of the youth? Because it can be some things like when you're trying to really grow memberships like this, that's more like really for culture wise. You target the younger generation, even the kids, like having like a Miss Rachel type of ordeal on YouTube, for that's more talks about Italian heritage. That also attracts the kids, but also allows the parents to be able to want to push more towards that. So, but I know it's hard because if they are stuck in their ways, you can also talk with some other members that may want to provide a change. They just need some ideas as well.
Yeah, so during the process, we did connect an Instagram account to their Facebook page, because we do know that the younger generation does do a lot on Instagram. They have one rule, and it was you have to be able to drive yourself to come. And if not, your parent had to come with you. So like you said, your parent has to come with you if you can't drive yourself. Yeah. What else? Was that kind of it though? Yeah, so we did kind of, like through the whole process, like we connected the Instagram page to the Facebook, but that was kind of our main ordeal.
Do they have any pop-up shops, like say if there is like a Italian Heritage Month or so, or have they done that?
In our discussion, we definitely touched on that. Like I'm from Delaware, so St. Anthony's has an Italian festival, but they didn't really, none of the members really want to just stand there and kind of just hand out pamphlets like come learn the language. They didn't really think that would be useful. I do think it could be useful in the future, but they don't really do any pop-ups to say. Everything's kind of scheduled out.
Thank you for the presentation. Great job. You did mention that membership declined, correct?
Yeah, at the peak, we were at 120 members, and right now we're looking at 20, 25 members, so it definitely did decline.
And what was the timeline duration of that?
So it started in 1989. They said the peak was in like the early 2000s, per se, and then as people grew older, couldn't attend the meetings, stuff like that, and then, as I said, unfortunately, people die off. So they really just need to build a younger crowd to kind of carry the club along.
Okay. So it was kind of natural.
It was just natural. Yeah,
attrition.
there wasn't anything that went wrong that per se. It was just they weren't doing enough to keep or to bring in more members as they were losing them.
Okay. I think a similar question that I asked the last group, do they have any mechanisms to seek member satisfaction, what their feedback is?
Not necessarily. Just for now, it's kind of a small group, so none really, they're all pretty close, so none of them really see much wrong with it, I would say. So for like a survey, there's not really a survey or anything that they can conduct, but like the meetings that we do have, input is welcome. So if a member thinks something is wrong or they want to change something, they definitely can speak up. There's not like a limited, just the president has a say.
And they're still at break even right now, even with that decline in membership?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, now they can only hold 2 festas, and it doesn't cost anything to hold the meetings besides the school where they hold it, like to rent the space, but otherwise, not necessarily.
Great, thank you.
Thank you guys, really good presentation. My question is like, so how is it works? Like you have the membership and everything, and it's like a daily meetings, like how does it works?
They're monthly meetings, and then you have the 2 events, so one in the springtime and one in the fall, but it's a once monthly meeting.
Okay, and if like one of my family members has a membership, does he can bring like guests, like?
Yes, you can. There are guests allowed. We do try to promote the membership further, like to get your own. But yes, I think it was the first like 3 meetings where you can bring a guest free.
Okay, cool. Through your process and your like all investigation and everything, did you look around like if there is any like other like not Italian clubs but more like something else, and did you like compare your marketing like plans to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 3 listed down, just like competitors, but they don't offer the language. It's more just a social drink, talk with other Italians. So Fitalia International, they have a section in Philly that they hold, but it's more social, and they do have a large membership, or a lot of members. And they also have the Italian Society of Philadelphia, and they also is more just social. So competition we definitely set ourselves apart from competition because we offer the language. But now in this age, people don't necessarily want to just learn the language. They kind of want to have a social aspect and hang out with each other, talk, and that we don't really offer that. And I mean, obviously you talk to the other members in the meetings, but there's not like a social, there is refreshments at the end, but it's nothing like that.
It's working. Did you guys ever like went to one of their meetings? Did you see how it's like?
Yes, we did go to a meeting. It was actually pretty cool. Everybody kind of joins in. It's in a school actually, so everybody kind of comes together to start up the meeting. And then from there you break into your classrooms, and they actually do rent classrooms to teach in. Break into your classrooms, and then at the end you come back together, have a couple snacks, a couple drinks, socialize for a bit, and that's the meeting.
And the meetings are like to raise the Italian culture, like it's around this. If I'm not Italian and I want to like learn about the culture more, like what kind of things they're doing?
So the teachers do have presentations too there. They teach the Italian culture. They even have culture days sometimes, like they have like themed nights where it could be like basically like a travel pamphlet, and you're gonna sit there through a presentation similar to this, and they'll teach you whatever you need to know to travel to Italy and be there safely and enjoy it.
Did you guys maybe thought about maybe not just like presentations and kind of things, like maybe like when you have the meetings, maybe like talk about the Italian food and the cuisine, and maybe like do like some like workshop, stuff like that?
So the second to last meeting, a travel agent actually did come in and basically promoted Italy as if it was trying to sell Italy. Why you would want to go there, what food you can experience, what experiences you can do. So that was really like the main, not the main, but one example of like somebody coming in and like presenting about Italy.
Great job, because you did have to do this with two lesser. For the future, I would recommend making sure you tested your video beforehand, because I would have liked to seen the video. I wouldn't be chewing gum, no offense, and I would watch how your font is on your slides. It's very tiny for my very old eyes. I like the cooking classes as well. I didn't hear the Italian traveling. That's really cool. I love that. I can see how you differentiate with your competitors, which other people had talked about their differentiation. Did you find that in the cultural bias that we've had in the United States of late, that might have been part of the decline, that people don't want to find themselves like pigeonholed in a culture that could be, or is Italian not as culturally biased in the marketplace?
I think in this area it's not very biased, so I don't think that was particularly an issue in our situation.
What type of picture?
Yeah.
What's all that? Your thing, got it. Records, if I saw.
Yes.
So they could write to the 5 to go. Church. The whole book.
It's Jim.
For push, like, bikes, kind of, if you which one?
Okay,
One
trying to keep this going so that we're not here real late on a Friday. This is our fourth presentation. We have 6. So this is the OMC school presentation.
others. It's only the very. Thank you.
Hello. How's everyone doing? Good job to all the other groups that went so far. You guys did great. Thank you for all the judges coming out. Professor B, thank you for helping us throughout the year. You did great. We want to preface by saying that our communication with OMC actually ended because Zachary, he had his last day before it ended, and we kind of ended abruptly. So for the overview slide, basically OMC is going to be a school store that will be placed in the OMC building. They will have snacks, drinks, schools, and supplies, even apparel. The school store is going to be mostly ran by the students, where they will have firsthand experience in learning business management. Sorry.
Yeah, so I had the challenges we faced when creating the OMC school store book plan. Our biggest challenge was limited accessibility, us not actually being able to see the store due to it being under construction. So we weren't able to see the store, not even a picture, so we kind of just had to work with what we had and do our best. Our second challenge that we faced was the fact that OMC store isn't already an established business, so we had to work from the ground up rather than tweaking areas for improvement. And our last challenge that we faced was opportunities being unavailable due to fulfilled roles, specifically in pricing and strategy. So rather than leaving it blank, we decided to give what we had with our research and our knowledge and give it to the judges and to OMC and just what we thought was best.
Okay, for the mission slide, I did, well, basically what I said was, our mission at OMC is to provide students with the same business experience while also allowing them to have a store within the school where they can purchase a variety of things. For example, like snacks, school supplies, school supplies, book bags, you know what I'm saying, like all in that order. So basically what I said on my little note slide, I said, OMC provides a unique opportunity for students to gain practical experience while offering essential products. We mainly want to focus on school supplies, because without school supplies, students can't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to put a lot of pressure on parents and all that, you know what I'm saying? Because that takes a toll on them. So we got the school supplies, pencils, pens, papers, etc. That gives a great resource for the students because it's already in the school. For the business slide, I said to be a well-functioning student-ran school store that gives students a safe environment where they can purchase snacks, drinks, school supplies, and apparel. Basically, summarizing the overall vision of OMC. The bookstore, we want to make sure it's going to be there for years to come, not just one semester or, well, not semester, one school term, you feel me? Because they kids, we in college, so they don't got semesters. For another thing I said, for the educational purpose, I said, through this intensive, students learn valuable skills. For example, in business management, inventory control, pricing strategies, and customer service. So that's all I got for my slide.
Some of the main goals we wanted to just quickly establish during our time working with OMC was, one of the first things we wanted to figure out was what snacks did the kids want. So we decided to create a small survey, which you will see later in the presentation. The next thing we wanted to focus on was what ways did they want to promote the school store. So we kind of brainstormed a few ideas which will be covered. And then we wanted to figure out exactly how they wanted the store to be operated.
So we created a survey for OMC, asking them 2 questions: what type of food they would want and drinks. We gave them out to the 5th through 8th grade students. And we actually got some, we had some unrealistic answers that they gave us, like a whole Chick-fil-A, a whole Walmart, stuff like that. But as you can see, mostly was like chips on there, soda, juice for the most part.
So one of the first things we actually discussed with our client was how they wanted the new school store to be advertised and promoted. So we immediately started brainstorming ideas of how they could effectively market their new school store to students, parents, and the local community. We thought of some initial simple ideas like utilizing social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And this would be used to advertise any new deals, sales, limited seasonal items that the store might be carrying, as well as directly emailing both teachers and, not teachers, students and parents. While I do feel that directly emailing would be more to reach out to the parents rather than the students, because if the students are in school majority of the time, they don't really need to be checking their email to find out about new deals for the store. That's where physical promotional material comes in. Stuff like flyers, posters, anything that could basically be hung up in the hallways where students frequent to get the message out. When it came to involving the local community, OMC actually told us that they plan to utilize the Chestnut Hill Neighborhood Association, is what we were told. And that was just to better involve the local community. The next thing that our client discussed with us was how they wanted the store to be operated. And they already had a pretty well laid out plan for us. They want the school to be almost entirely run by the students, specifically the 8th grade. And of course there would be some limited faculty supervision, of course, But aside from that, it's almost entirely run by the students. There would be groups of students from within the 8th grade that would be assigned shifts, and those shifts would align with when the school store was to be open. OMC wants the store to be open during the mornings, before classes, during their lunch period, and for 45 minutes after classes are over. And they also did mention they want the store to be open if OMC is hosting any special after-school events. I find that having the school store almost be entirely run by students gives the students some good experience with business, handling money, and it also prepares any students for if they plan to acquire a summer job.
Yeah, so for our pricing, as I mentioned earlier, they already had fulfilled roles on this, so instead of us leaving it blank, we wanted to give it our best shot. So as far as filling up the shelves, we figured that Costco bulk items, you can find it all of the items on our survey you can find at Costco, and if you buy in bulk, it's probably more cheaper than getting it at any other store. Our whole goal here at the OMC store is to make sure it's student-friendly with pricing. And we figured we could do that through tiered strategy, which puts our items in 2 different tiers. Our cheapest tier being like pencils, knick-knack items. Our second tier being snacks, books, and things like that. And our last tier, which I believe is the most important tier, is our merchandise, which I had a couple sweatshirts made up, which I recommend OMC marking up around 35 to 40% so the store can actually make revenue to keep those lower tiers items affordable for the actual students.
And for possible opportunities that we couldn't discuss with OMC because we were like, it was a limited meeting with them, and we were thinking of adding like a coffee station in there, maybe for like the teachers, you know, when they get up in the morning and when they get there, like $1 or $2 for a coffee, they can make some money on it. And then we wanted to add a kind of like a phase 2 for like they talked about it with us. It's like a part 2 for like an online store they wanted to do. Like currently they have like every 6 weeks they have an online store that they put on, but we want to do that like more like full time with it. And then more healthy snacks as it goes, and we also gave them a teacher survey because we wanted to see what the teachers thought and how it could be better, but OMC never got back to us on that.
Just our references. And thank you.
Good presentation. My first question relates to trainings for the students that plan to run the store. So what POS system you guys will be using, and how will the training be structured to the students, especially for after school when there might not be a teacher around?
We did ask about training for the students, but the response we got was just, instead of being told what kind of training they would get, we just were told what like shifts they'd be working in. We never really got any info about training.
And then as far as the POS system, I recommend using Toast, as we didn't get an answer for that. So I thought Toast and offering a cash discount to make it more affordable for the students, because a lot of the time the students being so young, they're probably going to have cash rather than card. So I think that 3% cash discount would be huge.
Will there be any opportunities for the students maybe to have their parents load cash or money into some type of account where the students can come in, swipe a card, and they go from there to purchase what they need?
If OMC was to go through with that, I would assume yes, there would be a way for parents to put money onto a card for students.
Then my last question relates to the hoodies and stuff you guys had, apparel. How do you guys plan to handle, excess products for seasonal use that don't go as planned when you try to sell to the students?
Can you say that last part again, please?
How do you intend to manage the excess items that you guys put out seasonally that don't sell as planned?
Right. So as we had mentioned earlier, we would, like for student week and things like that, we would like to drop maybe one special sweatshirt with limited availability to kind of create hype around the school. These are like the 3 main, I don't know where I went. Go back 2 slides, please. Obviously, we would like there to be more than just 3, but I didn't want to put 10 sweatshirts up there. But if we keep these 3 up, or maybe 5 or 6, I feel like we can manage that bulk orders, because buying in bulk is way cheaper than just getting less made. For 50, to make 50 sweatshirts of any of these kinds, is going to be around $1,500 to $1,600. So that's about $30, $35 per hoodie, and with the 35 to 40% markup, you're looking at around $40, $50 per hoodie, which I think is still very affordable.
This message. King, what's your name?
Corey.
Corey? From 0% to 100%, 0 meaning no effort, 100% meaning I feel like I did the best. What was the percentage on effort that you feel you did for the presentation? This is just to you.
To me, I think I did like 85%.
If the answer's not 200, then it's wrong. Always remember, this is just to you. Always remember you gotta work twice as hard just to be on the same level. Always remember that. This is not only for just this presentation, but this is for tomorrow and the rest of your life.
Yes, sir.
Wear those lots proud. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hi, guys. So I run a school and a school store. You're going to hate my questions. I apologize for this a bit. So is there any, so if it's student run, there's going to have to be some oversight by adults, right? So if you were talking about 180 days of school and 5 hours a day, right? Beginning of the school, a couple hours in the middle, and after school at like $15 an hour. That comes out to about $13.8. I just ran the number real quick. Is there a salary for that, for the finances, for the money going to deposits, for bank, for all of that? Is there like any startup cost or funding for the store? And for the inventory, right? You got to buy the sweatshirts to sell them. So that's not even considering the salary. So salary and inventory, do they have like a
So I actually talked about this with Zach on his last day, because I was asking him. He said they actually have like community hours that they have to like per student that they have to do. So they were thinking like their school store could be like a community hour for them to work with. He also talked about building up a point system for them. Like maybe they get maybe at the end of the month they could have a day they could put whatever they want in the store, or they could build up points to get like a sweatshirt from the store, a notebook,
right?
Something like that.
Also, do you have any competitive research? Any other school stores? Did you reach out and look at what they're doing, how much they cost, or if they're student run or not?
The only bookstore that we looked at was our bookstore right down below.
Okay.
And obviously that's run by Jen, and I think there's 2 other student workers, but
okay.
That was the only other store.
I could speak from my own experience. Like when I was in high school, our school store at my high school was not student run. It was pretty much run by one member of the faculty during the lunch period, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to do that.
I did say that to them, too.
I highly recommend the swipe card parent system, because it's just too tempting or accidental to put some money in your pocket. So if a child then gets accused, it just turns into an ugly mess. So if you're going to make a recommendation to the school, I would recommend that it was parent swipe card run. Therefore, their parents also know how much money they're spending in a store. There was another question I had. Swipe card. So you didn't get a chance to look at other models. Did you get a chance to look up any research on what a typical store, in any case, the school stores or anything, marks up a product to stay profitable? Because you were mentioning 35%. Was that based on research, or is that?
That was based on us, because like I said, we didn't receive any ideas about this, so my best input was marking up around 35%, keeping that only a 10 to 15 markup profit. So it's not much. Other stores I've seen go up way past 50, so I feel like it gives us an opportunity to make some profit while still keeping it affordable for students and teachers as well.
Yeah, you need 100% markup.
100%.
And then when you run into an inventory problem of leftover, then you can start coming down.
Right.
And you're still not losing money, and you're paying your salaries, and you're paying your inventory forward. It still doesn't give you a ton of money, trust me. Nobody's going to go riding a Mercedes on the OMC school store by any means. But great professionalism, great slides, liked how you rotated through. Would recommend making sure you say your names first so that we knew exactly who you were, but I thought it was a great presentation.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Should sit.
See, but that's what he's saying.
Next.
Our fifth presentation is The Bridge, or Partners Creating Community.
That should see. Yes. Was good.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. My name is Neil Hill, and these are my group partners, Oliver, Gabriel, Kaylee, and Lucas. Throughout this semester, we have worked with Partners Creating Community, and specifically 260 Bridge Cafe. This is a cafe located in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, that focuses on empowering and employing the neurodiverse adult community. I know we've heard a lot of words today, so before we get into it, we have a brief video explaining our collaboration with Partners Creating Community.
That's it.
Yeah, I
The states that are the things you get out of the big. That's very much.
wait, yes.
Swipe with that.
I don't know if that has to. I let.
Sorry for the delay.
Great.
Loading. That's got targeting.
Words like that is word now.
I ain't the bottom us. Holds and. Well, right. That. She's all very. Comes. You just call that mistake. And that's it. Bad. Yeah, man. I try to think back then, next, almost after that day.
That's all right.
And it can. Yes. And we'll like her. And go to wipe right down.
Let me try back here. Did you have the Taylor's ball? I thought there was part up there.
Sorry, Chestnut Hill has great Wi-Fi most of the time.
But okay, good.
If we can't pull up the video in a minute, we're just going to proceed without it.
Yeah, that's high.
Good. Good.
Good. Happy. Climate.
Get
it. There's a weather started song. I don't go see the work dead. Yeah, they get it.
After that.
Lucas.
Things sick man. It was.
No, it's fine.
All right, hopefully by the end of the presentation we'll have the video, but the video just showed our experience while we were at the cafe and our interactions with the neurodiverse community. And as you would have seen in the video, 26 Bridge Cafe is much more than just a coffee shop. They are a place of empowerment, and they better every aspect of the neurodiverse's life. 26 Bridge Cafe is one of 6 enterprises that falls under the Partners Creating Community umbrella. Within these enterprises, they have a farm, coffee roasting business, art show, and 260 Bridge Cafe. All of these are centered around taking a holistic approach to caring for the neurodiverse community. Within this, they also have housing, transportation, psychological, mental, and emotional support, all while providing a great product to the public.
Thank you, Neil, for that beautiful explanation. So after working and experiencing 260 Bridge Cafe, we came up with 2 possible areas of growth. Since most of the people who go to the cafe are not aware of the mission they have of helping neurodivergent adults, we saw that marketing is an area in which it lands. They also want to increase revenue, so adding a new evening experience will help them achieve the growth they're looking for. And my colleague Luca is going to talk a little bit more about that new idea.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. So, the area that I'm going to dive into is the limited evening option. So at 260 Bridge Cafe, as you can see right above this board right here, on Fridays and Saturdays, it's open at 8 p.m. But the challenge is here, the menu does not change. So once the doors open, it is serving
Wi-Fi, sure.
Sorry. It is serving coffee, teas, and pastries. Let's be honest right here, if at 8 o'clock and I wanted a late night snack, coffee, tea, or pastry wouldn't be the first thing that crosses my mind. Am I correct about that? I think we can all agree on that. Also, 260 Bridge Cafe, it's coming up on us, we're good. 260 Bridge Cafe is located on Bridge Street. Bridge Street is a happening area. It has countless bars and restaurants, making it a great atmosphere for young adults and families to enjoy a great night. So our solution to 260 Bridge Cafe is...
It's completely going. Yes, you don't.
All right.
Yeah.
So, is pizza. It's pizza. That is what we're going to do. Pizza. All right. I would have had a really nice slice of pizza up there, but it's all right. So it's pizza. Yeah, all right, keep rolling. I'm sorry about this. So, with pizza, can I just get a show of hands of who likes pizza? That's pretty good. I love pizza too. As you can see, pizza is a very popular food item that you guys like to indulge in. Also, pizza is usually consumed during the evening. So we got 2 things that kind of attack a lot of categories. So what we would like to integrate with this pizza is, sorry, I would be attacking the board for a picture, but I don't have anything up there. So I'm going to adjust on the fly. And with this great idea, there's obviously with a lot of great ideas, there's possible room for concerns and problems. The concern that we really think that would have the hugest impact with serving late night pizza is the people that we'll be serving it to. Obviously, as we stated before, Neil did a great explanation on our employees are neurodiverse. So we feel that with a later audience, they would be consuming alcohol and not being the most appropriate and maybe a louder crowd. That can cause a lot of conflicts for our neurodiverse employees. So what we have come up with as a group is we will provide a walk-up window service. The way this walk-up window service will be done is the customer will walk up to the window, perform their transactions of paying for the pizza and receiving the pizza. This will allow the neurodiverse workers in the back be able to have a safe and comfortable atmosphere, performing all the standards and making the pizza operations in the back. So that is our idea for expanding the current evening limitations. Now I'm going to hand over the mic to Oliver.
All right. So our second goal that we want to focus on is the marketing side, and I'm just going to introduce it, talk about our competitors, and some strengths that we have. Phoenixville, the area where we're located, is a growing community, and it has a downtown area that has been revitalized in the last few years. This makes the location a perfect place for a mission-driven cause. The average price of a specialty coffee has been risen by around 7% in the last few years, and this shows that customers are willing to pay for a special product when it has a purpose behind it. So our major competitors are the major chains that are located in Phoenixville, like Starbucks and Dunkin'. They dominate the coffee market, but they lack a meaningful purpose in the community. In contrast, 260 Bridge Cafe offers product and a mission that aligns with the community in Phoenixville. So the second type of competitor we have is the local cafes, the other local cafes. Unlike Sultan Cafe, that is a big competitor just down the block, they only focus on employing diverse, inclusive employment strategy.
Have you been feeling guilty about your coffee runs lately?
Oh, no, it works. All right, we'll get to that later. And PCC, they not only focus on inclusive employment, they also, like Neil talked about before, have a broader and more holistic approach that takes care of all walks of life. So this deeper mission, paired with a great quality product, gives 260 Bridge a competitive edge in a very, very tough market.
Okay, before I continue on, we're gonna try to get that first video.
Well, same, until I discovered 260 Bridge Cafe. The vibe is unmatched, the coffee is incredible, and it's now a staple in my morning routine. Coffee that tastes good and does good? Count me in. Did you know that adults with intellectual and developmental differences face an 80% unemployment rate? Well, 260 Bridge Cafe is changing that, one coffee at a time. The positive energy in here is literally contagious, the service is genuine, and your coffee purchase directly supports an inclusive workplace where everyone belongs. This is what real impact looks like. Also, they give really good hugs, but you didn't hear that from me. Definitely recommend checking out 260 Bridge Cafe on your next coffee run or your next sweet treat craving, located in Phoenixville, PA.
Okay, just pretend you saw that in the beginning. We're gonna go back to what Oliver had just mentioned. So we now know that PPC has the competitive advantage, but the question is, how do they capitalize off of it? We propose consistent marketing efforts that highlight the people behind the cafe. An example of this could be staff spotlight campaigns. I would like to share our experience there. When we visited, we had the opportunity to meet with some of the employees and the staff, one of which gave me a big hug on the way out, hence the video. I think he would be the perfect spotlight for the staff spotlight campaign and can make other people's days as he did mine. To show you how easy and effective this kind of marketing can be, I created a few promotional videos, one we just saw, and another one you're about to see, using the same existing footage with a simple, basic editing tool. Let's see if that one will work this time, though. Yeah. Okay, I can pause it now. The best part about efforts like these is that they can be done quickly, affordably, and by the team itself, so no outside help.
Thank you for that information, Kaylee. To build on what I talked about earlier, I am now going to talk about the financial aspect. With information that I learned in Professor Elliot Jeter's advanced accounting class, I was able to obtain Partners Creating Community's 990 tax filing. In this, we learned that Partners Creating Community is a nonprofit organization, specifically a 501c3. This makes them a tax exempt to federal taxes. Under this filing, we also learned that they have a stable balance sheet with positive net assets. 260 Bridge Cafe specifically does operate at a loss and is reliant on independent grants and independent funding. We are hopeful that with our addition of late night pizza and increased marketing, they will be able to achieve their goals of self-sufficiency and achieve their financial and social mission.
Okay, so what's next? How do they move forward with this? First, they need to have their budget approved to start marketing. After that, once they have the budget approved, they need to start the window pizza service installation and getting all the permits needed to start operating. Once that's done, they choose their staff and start training them. And after that, they'll be ready to start operating. They will just need to find a way to track how all these new ideas are working.
So we'll end with a simple invitation. Come for the coffee.
And pizza.
Stay for the purpose. Thank you. I wish that our slides worked because this was like not how it was supposed to be.
Along with that, before that, if anybody would like to try an example, the croissants and other pastries up here are courtesy of Craig Boyd, Vantage Fit, and Partners Creating Community.
Really good job, guys. Business plan was easy to read. Presentation for what we saw, pretty solid. Just one quick question. I saw that you had in your business plan competition being Starbucks and Dunkin'. Is there a Starbucks or Dunkin' nearby this cafe?
Yeah. So there's both a Dunkin' and a Starbucks located in the Phoenixville area, so they're close by, yes.
And other than social media, that 22% of residents are aware of this mission. How else do you think that you could prioritize to build more awareness around this?
Yeah, so another great idea that we came up with was at the checkout, we will, you know how you have to sign for the tip or anything like that? We can just do a little, like a picture kind of explaining our purpose, and that can be a way for kind of customers that walk in the door know what their money is going towards.
Along with that, this is located in a very lively area for young adults, and there are also many colleges around the area. So we're going to try to expand into marketing within these colleges to broaden knowledge of the cafe for people who have never heard of it or located or gone into the cafe before.
Really good, guys.
Yeah, very, very good. Just with it being able to adjust. You know, even though like the presentation wasn't working, I don't think it hurt you guys. I think it really helped because it just shows that, you know, you still knew your stuff. You wasn't just relying on just the presentation. So that was really good with that. I live in Oaks, so I go down Phoenixville, that area a lot, and it's very lively. The foot traffic is amazing. So, but I haven't heard of this mission. And I'm a behavior specialist. My practice, we have a lot of individuals on the spectrum and neurodivergent individuals. And if I would have known for this, I'd definitely make that one of my stops. So since it's a high foot traffic type of area, I definitely think, you know, I mean, what are your thoughts on just making something that's kind of like, you know, like, again, Autism Speaks type of puzzle piece on there, or just something to really, when people are walking, they can be able to just be a little curious on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I really think that social media is what's going to play the biggest effort in this.
Absolutely.
I studied their platforms, and they have no TikTok presence whatsoever. And there are a few videos from, you know, just random people making videos of, oh, hey, check out this coffee shop, kind of like what I did. But no one specifically mentions that this is what they do, which is what separates them from Starbucks and everyone else. So I do think that social media would be the main.
I definitely don't think Starbucks or Dunkin' are even, it's like apples and oranges type of ordeal, because you guys are doing something with a cause. So I think when people do like notice this, it's going to catch on. So even looking at, I'm not sure if you guys have looked at any partnerships with like bigger organizations, like even some insurance companies like IBC, Independence Blue Cross, or just Autism Speaks, you know, or just even other nonprofits that also work with these individuals, because this can be a great bridge program for individuals who are just, you know, aging out of the, you know, up to 21 type of life skills ordeal, and then that can be a place of employment as well. So, and, you know, championing that can really just help people just want to just give it money.
100% agree with what you said. Specifically within the neurodiverse community, there are a lot of programs and funding within children, because lots of schools have programs, but once you hit the age of 18 or 21, there's less opportunities for support, even though many people need lifelong support. So within 260 Bridge Cafe, that's the cafe that we spoke about. They're an employer, but the other 6 enterprises also employ neurodiverse community. So they're able to work on the farm. There's a pastry, coffee roaster, and art studios, just as more outlets that these people can gain support.
Yeah, awesome.
Well done, guys. I love the confident Lucas. You engaged the whole crowd. It was really good. I love the videos. I think it's really good. If I was watching that on TikTok, so I will definitely gonna go there. So thank you for that. My question is like, so the people that are working there, from what I wrote from your marketing plan. So there are like people, community like that are like with face disabilities and stuff like that. So my question, like, how like they learn the job skills, like how that works?
That is currently a big challenge that we face. The average neurodiverse employee does take longer to train. It takes approximately 6 months to train a neurodiverse employee, what it would take a neurotypical employee 2 to 4 weeks to train. But along with that, they have support staff for each member of the neurodiverse community. So while they are individually responsible and hold these jobs, there is a support staff. If they're ever, people with neurodiversity have good days and bad days. So whether they're having a good day or a bad day, there's always a support staff there to help them train and train on the job.
I would also like to add that it does depend on individual to individual. You know, some people need more help, while some people are, you know, very efficient.
So there is like a staff behind the scene, like that is like professionals.
Yes, I believe the ratio is like 2 to 1 of neurodivergent to typical divergent.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question: do you guys have a like sensory room or so in there, like kind of like a little break room, just in case they are overstimulated?
So we are going to let Craig help intervene here. He's a member of the staff of Craig.
We do have there, and again, it really is based on the individual. There are places for folks to go.
You mentioned that you're a behavioral specialist. We have behavioral specialists on staff. They take, you know, part of that. We're not necessarily a clinical outfit. In fact, I will say definitively we are not. However, that is built in with the clinical professionals that we partner with. So there are places folks can go, both in that building. We also have a property that is adjacent to the cafe that is another place where folks can go. But think of it as a very holistic setup where if somebody is having a bad day, there's definitely support for them. There's definitely a place for them, even if it's just bringing them up to like our offices where the rest of us are working.
Excellent presentation. I really appreciate the sense of humor, honestly, and your ability to pivot and just move forward and still offer great insights and propose an excellent business proposal. This mission, it's near and dear to my heart. I work for an IDD provider, the Communities of Don Gwinnett, Divine Providence. We have our own employment team, job development. So along those lines, has there been any consideration to partner with organizations such as mine for employment services, job placement, and so forth?
Lucas.
Yeah, that was a great question. Obviously, we don't know the actual companies that we're working with, but there's definitely areas of growth that we need to work on, and we can expand our mission through the company that you're just talking about and countless other companies that are trying to better the good of the neurodivergence.
We also think that collaboration is a great avenue that Partners Creating Community as a whole can do, as they do take the holistic approach and try to affect every aspect of the neurodiverse community's life. Partnership and outside help is always something that they're looking to build and grow in.
Great. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go back to my team with 260 here and see if we can place some of the individuals that we serve. Is it just Phoenixville, if I'm not mistaken?
The operation is currently only located in Phoenixville, yes.
Okay, great. My other question in terms of financial sustainability, do you know generally what percent of your budget is relied upon for grants, donations, in terms of your revenue sources?
Yes, so our revenue sources are broken up into approximately 40% is from independent grants or funding, and then 35% is the families of the neurodiverse community who do fund the operation and pay for certain services, and then approximately 26% is from revenue brought in from the cafe, and the last 6% is just obsolete miscellaneous income.
Great. Any other ideas for different revenue streams? I really appreciated the idea with the offering of pizza. Is there any other ideas that you?
Yes, so along with that, Craig Boyd, who's here, is actually the event coordinator. So they do run and operate a lot of events. They most recently had a fine wine and dine event that brings in members of the community that are donors to help raise money. They also have a pickleball event coming up and a 5K run. So they do a lot of outside funding to try to bring in the community and raise money.
Awesome. Well, it's great work. There's nothing more rewarding on my end than to see the individuals we serve gain meaningful employment and succeed in their roles. So it's an excellent mission. So kudos to that.
Hi, guys. Great presentation. Great professionalism, best today. Great slides when they worked. Amazing pivot when it didn't. Really, I had a friend who had a whole presentation ready for a professional client, and there was a fire alarm, and the entire board ran down the stairs and said, "It's the sidewalk. We've got 5 more minutes. You got your presentation. Go." So you never know what's going to happen in a presentation. So you always have to memorize your slides for that, just for the future. So I'm on the board at Chestnut Hill, and they are starting a neurodiversity program. Are you familiar with that?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
do you have you talked to anyone in the neurodiverse planning program for internships to be partnering with this great program?
Within the Chestnut Hill development of their neurodiverse community, we have not spoken with anyone in that world, but we think that would be a great opportunity for collaboration to combine Partners Creating Community with the Chestnut Hill community as well.
Anybody else? I have like 3 questions. The pizza is a great idea. Did you also incorporate the price for pizza ovens?
Yeah, so that kind of goes with.
And boxes, the supplies that come with that kind of
Yes, that was
offering.
on one of the slides that
Okay, good.
we were
I saw
unfortunately able to get up there. We have that in the business
the
plan.
window slide, but I didn't see a pizza slide. So, and it could have been that it was stuck. So, okay,
Yeah, so
great.
the initial investment of the window and doing all the materials and equipment like that would be, because I was stating earlier, we have a lot of the equipment like the ovens, prep tables, and all stuff like that. So it's on the lower end. It will be approximately $7,000, a little bit north of that, what we
I saw that.
calculated.
Okay, great. That's awesome. That's actually not a bad investment at all for a option increase for a dinner item. I loved it. There was one other question I was going to ask. Great financials, by the way, really great financials. I loved all the explanations and the pivot. Oh, I know what I was going to say. In the marketing plan, I loved the videos. My only suggestion would be to do more faces of the people with neurodivergent, the smiles are what like tug at the heartstrings, right? So it was great. I thought the one was just a little stronger in that than the other for you. And have you thought about doing a TikTok challenge where they lead the challenge?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just made content while I was there visiting in a few hours, and that's all me, like, kind of sneak in videos. Definitely if like content was orchestrated, I really think it could be successful and help them, and I totally agree that the smiles is what's going to bring in people and customers.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you do events. I think that's great marketing and expansion. If you do want to expand to pizza, I would put the people with neurodiversity on the sidewalk and start handing out free slices. To your point, you didn't know they were there, right? So maybe there's like a free pizza night and everybody's out there just handing out, come in, get something else, buy a t-shirt tonight, and you get a free slice of pizza or something. Because if there's not an awareness and you're in that town, then the locals are really gonna wanna know that you're there and that they've got a great cause for you. So great presentation and great product yourself. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Give me your earbuds. Just on. But listen.
Let's go. Let's go.
A little bit. Well, listen. Get around it. I'm like 30 March. Yeah. Look out that turn here, Chris. Look at house. Chile, and it's in the hole. Good job. I'm not sure why. If it came to me as it came like that. Yes. Thing. Still down like that. I'm going to be able to shoot. Good.
This is our last group. It is Rayner Woodworking. And it is very different than any other presentation and any other business that anyone's worked with during this semester.
Hi, so my name is Nicholas Suskowicz. I'm working here with Will Duddy, Myron Brooks, and Matt Gauld. This is a company that's near and dear to my heart. I've personally worked with them for 3 years now as an employee during the summers. It's owned by my great uncle, Doug Rayner. They've been in business since 1980. It's like he has a certain level of quality that he always produces, and he took me under his wing and got to show me different levels within the company, from being the CEO to just being a grunt laborer. So it was a great opportunity for me, and I just really wanted to present the message that he taught me through this presentation. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Doug.
What up? How's it going? That's a tough group to follow. Good job, Lucas. You brought the energy. But like you said, Renoir has been open for 20 plus years, and they excelled in craftsmanship and millwork. They work in high-end residential areas like the Princeton University area and the Central Jersey area. Right now, they have an annual revenue of $2.4 million. Like my colleague Sus said, they have a reputation, and when you see their name and you see their sign, you know exactly what work you're gonna get in return. So me and my colleagues have seen 3 areas of expansion that we think they can expand into. The first being the Princeton University. So we think that he can work directly with Princeton University. Like everyone here knows, universities are always doing renovations and always trying to update their campus. We believe that this will allow him to have consistent workloads throughout the year. The second is partnerships with architect designers and interior designers. This will create passive leads. This will have a consistent workload and build relationships passively, increasing income. And finally, we believe that he can expand outside New Jersey and go into the Philadelphia above Blue Line neighborhoods. This is high-end neighborhoods that is pretty untapped, and we believe that if we expand into these markets, we can increase revenue. So with expansion, you need innovation. So with the increased workload, communication becomes very important. So we want to implement in JobSite Pro tablets. This will help with direct communication, live updates, and will allow lower-end workers be able to talk to the clients directly. This will reduce errors as well on the job site. The second thing we want to do is work directly with Mercer County Community College. Also, while you're expanding, you need to increase your workforce. So we believe that internships through the Community County College will give us workers that are eager to earn full-time wages while also having consistent new workers come in year to year.
My name is Myron Brooks, and I will be talking about the target market, the competitive neighbors that we have, and then the advantages that we provide. So first will be Princeton University. They have a $13.8 million annual market. Their average project size is $180,000 to $425,000, and they're really looking for accuracy of the projects to be done and reliability, which we feel lines up to what we're trying to do with the type of work that we do. We believe in the craftsmanship that we provide, so we feel like that would be a great relationship to build. We were also looking to develop relationships with architect designers. They have an $86.4 million market in Mercer County. They also have 28 firms specializing in high-end residential projects, and they're looking for established networks. Being in business since 1980 and being successful to this point, we feel like that will also be beneficial to both sides. And then lastly will be the Philadelphia above Blue Line market. They have a $238 million market across premium neighborhoods and 4,200 homes valued above $1.5 million. So as said before, we're already working with higher end clients, so we feel like that would be also a good way to expand overall. So some competition will be Pino Construction. They have a 22% percentage market in Princeton. They have a strong relationship with different universities, but they're limited in their millwork capabilities. They also offer higher pricing with 12 to 15% higher than what we're offering, and their project timeline when getting projects done is also a little a weakness for them, as well as their communication. Baxter Construction, they have a strong digital presence. They're able to showcase exactly what they provide within their portfolio, so that's one thing they do very well. They also have a higher labor cost than us also, and they're able to work 5 to 7 projects simultaneously, which is also good when the industry's average is 3 to 4. But they also lack in communication as well. 26 hours was an average when we did our research from client inquiries, as well as their limited presence in the area that we're trying to expand to, which is Philadelphia. So lastly will be some advantages. Vertical integration. We have great in-house millwork capabilities, which saves us 32% versus our competitors that are subtracted to contract work. Our communication technology, we feel like implementing the job site Pro Tablet will be great for our workers to be on top, to adjust to any material differences that may take a while, but also provide direct messaging to customers if they have any questions that they need to answer or anything like that, we're able to do that. And we're also reducing our error percentage by 52%, and then our efficiency as well, implementing that. Building a partnership with MCC, that will also be a great opportunity to just continue to build relationships with young talent that's coming into the market. Our premium work is valued at 6 to 8% below our top competitors, so we feel like in that we're able to still provide great craftsmanship as well as for a lower price, so we feel like that's also a benefit in our way. And then our customer experience, we want to make sure that our work is very satisfied by the customer and that we're doing it in a timely fashion. As Nick said, his uncle works hard to make sure that he does that, and we feel like that's also a benefit. I'm going to pass the mic to Matt Gold.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Matthew Gold. Today I'll be going over our company's environmental responsibility, our workforce development, our cultural considerations in the Philadelphia market, and an implementation timeline. So first of all, environmental responsibility. Obviously in the woodworking industry, in this day and age, it's very important to be environmentally responsible. Us here at Raynor, we think it is especially important, so we took a couple measures to make sure we're doing the right things. First of all, we will be implementing National Association of Home Builders green building standards, which looks to target a 30% waste reduction. We will also be implementing an environmental impact tracking system. This will keep track of our waste reduction rates, VOC emissions, carbon reductions, and water conservation. By the third quarter of 2025, we look to transition to 100% VOC-free products along with zero formaldehyde products. We will be using FSC certified wood for all our millwork projects, and we will also be upgrading our dust collection systems. For workforce development, we will be partnering with Mercer County Community College to provide 4 to 6 internships per year for students at the college. We will have staff here at Raynor giving lectures at the college for the trade school students. We will also be donating equipment for our training programs, and we'll be ensuring priority hiring pathways for our program graduates. We think this is essentially important because 22% of trade school graduates with internship experience tend to have 22% higher salaries along with a 34% higher production rate. We will also, as Will talked about a little bit earlier, we will also be implementing JobSite Pro tablets on all our active job sites. This will allow, first of all, instant digital blueprint access for all of our employees, and it'll provide instant communication between office and job sites, which has been a problem in the past for our company. For the Philadelphia market, it's something that we look to get into in the near future. Some areas are Chestnut Hill, Bryn Mawr, and Glenwine. We think these would be specifically well for our business because there's a lot of high-end properties in these areas. Raynor working in areas such as Princeton, for example. A lot of high-end properties over there. We think it would work very well in our company. I think it would be a good fit for us. Another thing we're going to do in the Philadelphia area is some community engagement. We'll be partnering with local businesses, forming relationships with them to just help the community out a little bit, and along the way get our name out there a little more. We like this area. 42% of the properties in these areas have some sort of historical designation. So these areas, it's very, the architectural structures are very specific, a lot of guidelines. So we think this would be a great area for our company. So the implementation timeline, this is a 3-year timeline. It is cut into 3 different phases. Phase 1 is months 1 through 6, where we will be implementing our JobSite Pro training. We'll be formalizing our partnership with Mercer County Community College. We'll start the vendor approval process from Princeton University, and we'll launch our digital marketing campaign along with modernizing our website. Phase 2 goes from months 7 to 18 in the timeline. We will be getting our first projects at Princeton University. We'll be making our initial entry into the Philadelphia market, and we'll be implementing our environmental tracking system. Phase 3, this is the last and longest phase of our timeline. During this time, we'll be looking to expand our presence in Philadelphia. We'll be looking to add additional university projects. We'll be implementing our full workforce development program, along with completing our technology integration. I'm going to pass the mic to Nick.
So I'm going to be going over a couple of the finance part of our program. To do all this requires quite a bit of capital, so we're going to be requiring about $363,500. This will go into technology, workforce development, marketing, business development, and our working capital. The technology requirements are going to be for the workforce or Job Pro tablets, software licensing and cloud systems, project management software, as well as training and implementation. The company isn't very technologically advanced, to say the least. So this is going to be probably the biggest aspect and one of the first things that he brought up in our meetings with him. Being able to communicate thoroughly throughout the team members, from architects to engineers to Doug to the rest of the workers, is imperative. And this would keep the customers happy and everyone on the same page. He relies heavily upon his name brand, and you know what you're getting when you go with Rainer Woodworking. So to be able to work with customers and be clear and concise with your thoughts is imperative. Also, our workforce development program with Mercer County will be a big deal when we try to expand into other markets, because as of right now, there is a workforce shortage. He only hires the best, and he has issues when he's not the one teaching correctly. He's old-fashioned when it comes to everything, but that's not a bad thing, and that's why I've been in business for so long. He likes to be hands-on when it comes to stuff like that, which is why the communication between the workers is going to be such a large deal. Our marketing, as of right now, is very poor, and that's what is going to be required for the $64,000. That'll be a website redesign and a digital presence, as well as marketing materials and events, possibly at Mercer County Community College. And he also has extensive relationships with the Horse Park of New Jersey, and as well as zoning boards for the township. Our working capital will be for payment terms with university projects, increased material inventory. There's always shortages, especially with tariff wars that are going on. Sometimes it's hard to get raw materials. So to be able to have material on hand, to be able to still complete the projects at hand, will be imperative. Our revenue projections will be a 3-year process. Year one, we expect to make $2.56 million in revenue, which is a 2.4% increase in our margin. Year two, we expect $2.72 million in revenue, which is a 4.7% increase, as well as year three, which is $2.89 million in revenue, which is a 6.9% increase from year zero. Our break-even analysis, we require at least $2.38 million to pay all workers, which is only a 70% capacity of our workload. Fixed costs are $809,000 annually. There's a lot of litigations that are required between permits, especially in insurance. He's well insured and consistently has overinsures, but this helps protect him in the long run, which is why he's been around for so long. This umbrella will cover workers' comp, damage to property, theft of equipment, everything. So it's all taken care of, but that's why there's such high costs annually. Our variable costs are 66% of the project value. A lot of times things can go above or below, and he tries to stay on budget as best as possible, but that's why there's such high fluctuation with the variable cost. Some of the key benefits that we found from working with him, there's sustainable growth revenue. He's constantly trying to better himself as well as meet with new clients. As the years have gone by, he's gotten better with doing less work on the job and more about acquisition of clientele. But we've also presented some solutions to the workforce challenges that he's seen, which has been the biggest issue because it's hard to take on projects if you don't have the workers for it. So that's why reaching out to Mercer County Community College Technical School will be the largest deal possible. To enhance quality control has never been the issue. He leverages himself to position the company to only be able to accept jobs of those who can pay for it. That's why we work primarily in wealthier neighborhoods such as Princeton, and he has plenty of experience working on historical buildings and being able to do everything up to code. Quality control is the #1 priority, which is why training personally is going to be the largest acquisition the company can go after, because being able to train new employees and then retain them to be able to continue to grow. Some of the competitive advantages will be our technology increase, being able to communicate better. Communication between the company and clientele is imperative, and the craftsmanship speaks for itself. When customers ask you to come back, that's the only way he judges success, and they constantly ask you to come back. I know it's been a long day. You guys have sat through a lot, so I just want to thank everybody and thank all our professors for your help, and we're now ready to take questions.
Yeah. Great presentation. Amazing financial situation. I was writing all the questions down. You were answering them as I was writing them down, so I almost don't have questions, but I'll say that Yeah, I mean, I was like, how are you gonna make money in those 3 years? But you really did have your research ready. I love that you all wore the logo professional. That was perfect for this presentation. Well done, great slides. Would go with a bigger font next time, or when you're going for all your big money on these people. And I would also ask, do you have any examples to show us of the wood of your product? That's the only thing I didn't feel like I saw. I didn't see something as, this is what you're getting for all this money and all this labor.
Unfortunately, that is one of the biggest issues with our marketing problem, which is what we had discussed. He has very little social media, and with lacking of website, the sign that you see is all the advertising he has. I see people come by and stop just to take a picture. So another thing that we thought of as a company is to put a QR code on here with links to social media and website with the new website redesign. But the issue is, and I mean, I speak from experience as well because I'm never taking pictures, but we never take before and afters, which is something that he should do. All he has is he has customers constantly tell him, oh, I feel like I see you around all the time. I can tell you right now, he only has 3 of these signs, and it's his van driving around the state of New Jersey.
And that's awesome until it's not awesome.
I
so
agree.
I would add a QR code to his van if that's what people are following.
Yeah.
That leads to a product display. And I would also say, what is your SWOT analysis or your marketing analysis on adding somebody to market the product, take the photography, even if it's a photography consultant, to say 3 times a year you come to the job site before and after, you post, that kind of thing. But honestly, great presentation. He's going to do a great job if he follows through on this. One question, when you do have your list of competitors, how do you feel you're going to get this percentage? Like, I know you were doing research, but you're just saying, okay, there's a lot of work, How do you know you're going to get 10%, 20%, 18%? And I do like the 3-year build out. That was really well planned. But what is the thought process on how you're going to build out and where you'll be in the marketplace by a percent in your 3-year analysis?
So it's hard to quantify a way we're going to achieve the clientele, but I wish he could be here as of right now, but currently he's working. But if you ever met the man, he's able to, he sells himself. The company is his name. This is his whole lifeblood. So when you're... Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what he's doing, and that was one of the biggest takeaways from working with him when I got to drive around as kind of assistant, was he's not so much doing the work in the field so much anymore, but he's a salesman of the work. He's selling his name, he's selling the company, and he's selling the quality of work that he's going to ensure.
I'm just going to add something to that. I think one of the big things is his Doug Rayner has been so successful in his company without this stuff. So what we believe is the level that he can take it to once he implements these strategies to his business. I think that's what's going to take him to that next level, is because he already has done so well without any of this stuff that once he implements it, we believe that it's going to take him to another.
That's great.
Great job, everyone. You clearly did your homework. The research was phenomenal. You made good use of that inside knowledge that you had with all of the data. In terms of the business plan, it would have been helpful if there was maybe some charts to digest all the data. There was a lot of data. Sometimes it's just visually easier to get that information. My other question in terms of, I imagine this is a very competitive field in terms of hiring and, staffing, skilled laborers. So some of the things I saw in your presentation, 22% you're going to pay more than your competitors, right? You're partnering with this trade school. Any other strategies to retain your top performers, given that this is an extremely competitive field?
Yeah, so with the partnership with the county college, what we were saying is most workers with the internship, after they graduate, they do have a 22% increase, and he provides the work, and he really is strong on providing the best work possible. So we believe that with their prior experience and then getting into Renault, and working with him hands-on, that we can funnel those internships into full-time jobs. So we believe like that would give us a competitive advantage of them no longer picking maybe a company like our competitors that are all over social media, but more so having a basis with the owner of the company and getting hands-on training. So I think that would be.
So you kind of have like an integrated mentorship program.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's probably a lot for just one person, right? So is there any consideration for developing future leaders that can also provide that type of mentorship?
Yeah, so as of right now, the company is very understaffed, but there is a second in command, Ed Rickenbach. He's Doug Rayner's son-in-law. He has 20 years of experience. His father was a cabinet maker, so he has hands-on experience of both working in the field and in the shop. And he's the field general to the operations as Doug goes around with clientele being able to sell the company. Ed is the one executing everything. So between Doug and Ed, there you get a mix of both in-field work and skilled labor within the mill shop. And then you also need shop help as well when creating custom cabinets, because that is one of the largest things that Rayner Woodworking does. Is it's no longer like cabinetry is very manufactured with machines. So to be able to build it by hand, all custom built to whatever specification you want, is a huge thing. And that's why he's able to charge what he charges, because it's such custom work. So between the two, being able to not only train and retain the workforce, it's only going to grow the experience that the company has.
That's great. Thank you.
Great presentation. My first question in regards to, you mentioned your uncle likes to be hands-on. If you plan to grow the business, to get into the Philadelphia market, is there some type of structured training to where someone can step in to do the training while he focuses on growing the business? As you mentioned, he's the salesman for the business.
Yeah, like I said, it would most likely be Ed that would be doing the training, but with the internship program, we were thinking that it wouldn't be a regular thing, because then the kids also still have to attend classes and whatnot. So to be able to manage of Ed being able to help the students as well as being able to do the work, as long as he's overseeing a project, it could still be functional. But this is only going to grow as it's going to constantly compound as the students gain more and more experience. So it's going to start slow in the beginning, but then it's going to take off exponentially after a while.
Yeah, I think going into the Philadelphia market would be more of like a long-term thing and not something that you can rush into. So like he already has a strong foundation in where he does his work in Central Jersey, and then building and recruiting workers from below and then training them. Then you can subject them into broader areas surrounding Central Jersey into Philadelphia. I think that's more of like a slow moving pace kind of transition.
Also, I just want to touch on one more thing. That is also why Philadelphia is part of the Year 3 program. We want to get the ground under us for the Mercer County training program before we could really break into the Philadelphia market. But right now, primarily Princeton being able to train people to the quality of work that he wants, and then break into further markets once the workforce is expanded adequately.
My second question is, you mentioned your uncle, being the backbone of this company. Yes, he built it up here, but think in the next 40 years, how do you guys foresee the company running without your uncle, his van all across the state of New Jersey? He's going to get older. He's going to want to retire at some point. What is the structure, the plans for the next even 10 years, because nothing's guaranteed?
So hopefully by that time, we'll have more of a staff by that time that's trained to go. As Nick said before, we're hoping that Ed will still be able to, lead the way. And by then, we'll have more of a market, social media-wise, to still, get our product out there and not just buy the car or anything like that. He'll have more of a sustainable online presence as well to help with that.
By the end of our 3-year timeline, we believe that when the time comes where Doug is no longer out on the field, we believe after these 3 years we will have achieved some long-term sustainability. We're pretty confident in the plan we thought out, and obviously, yes, you're right. He is getting older. He's 10 years from now he may be retired, but we believe by then we developed a good foundation for the future that will have some long-term sustainability by then.
Good.
And real quick, I mean, great presentation. I loved it. You guys knew your stuff, and I could tell the passion is there. That was my question in regards to just succession. Other than whenever it's just one or two people, that's the backbone of a company. It gets concerning. So it sounds like you guys are working on training, whether it's providing videos of him doing that to help train that. I think that's important. Are any of the workers in any unions or so? So we're thinking, we're trying to go into Philly. Philly's very, very union central, so it'll be really difficult because it's very political there. So it'll be very difficult to even get a job from a high-paying type of neighborhood. So.
Good job, and I like the creative outfits.
Thank you.
That's enough.
Okay. Judges, you've heard their presentations, listed the answers to their questions. I ask you to go around the corner. There's a little alcove, and we have chairs for you guys to talk and deliberate and discuss who you think won, a tie, no one, everyone. It's all up to you. For the seniors that are remaining here, there are games. There's a game called Wall Street. Lori and Kent Griswold donated them to us for all the graduating seniors, so please take one. It is Monopoly on steroids. It is supposed to, I'm trying to think, someone said they tried it Wednesday night and they sat there and said, well, was it you, Bo, that said you tried it Wednesday night?
Yep.
Not easy, but it's a fun thing to do on a rainy day in the summer, so please make sure you don't leave without taking one. So if you're a senior, even if you're a business senior, please take one. And there's food. There's still a lot of food there. Who's talking? And I tried my phone.
You need a judge's picture for this one.
Yes. Come on, get you up there.
Right.
Okay, I'll do a judge's. You guys, here's number one.
Thank you. To say any, that should be like. Hello?
I did. I am.
Here you go.
Do we have that on? Do we have that? This is fine. This one, this.
Okay, so thank you for all the groups that were present today. Really great job in all your work that you're putting through during the whole semester. We really appreciate you guys presenting us today. So we have a winner. And the winner is Partners Creating Community. Really well done, guys. We really like the whole thing. We really like your confidence and everything you show up for us today. Also, we would like to honor Raynor. Was really good presentation. That was really close decision. We appreciate your presentation and everything you've been working on. Thank you so much. Again, well done to all, and thank you for all the faculty that was organized this event.
Anybody else want to say anything?
I just want to tell you guys. I just want to tell everybody, great job. This is great. This is just great learning experiences. Whether it's a win or a loss, this is going to help you guys for the future. Being able to present yourself, because as time goes on, there's going to be a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities as we are getting into a much more self-sustainable society. So these things are going to be helpful for you in any type of career that you're going into. It was really hard for us to figure out of the two just because the preparation was really well, but what I really valued was just how we were able to adjust when things did not go as planned, and that's going to be life. And these are life experiences, so you can see things as a stepping stone or a gravestone. And you guys saw it as a stepping stone, and then make the worst out of it. So great job for everybody, and yeah, continue to enjoy the rest of your season and all that good stuff.
Go ahead.
Great job, everyone. Glad you put in the efforts. Use us as a resource. I'm Dr. Lizanne Pando. My business cards are here. Link in with us. If you ever have a presentation you want any of us to give you some advice on, we're here. We showed up. We spent a couple hours with you. We saw what you put in. Like, we'd love to help you, all right? So network with people. Link in, and then ask for help, because mentors really will reach back and try to read it at night or a Saturday morning and give you some good feedback before you go in for big presentations where you guys are all going to be doing millions of dollars. We just know it because there was some great stuff there. So everything we gave to you today was really trying to help you for the future and your presentations, and you did a wonderful job. We're really proud of you.